people, just thought I'd drop you a video lesson instead of just posting things on Google Classroom. Not sure how many of you are watching, but if you want to learn something, that's what I'm here to do. I've rigged up my slides on my TV. I'll also post an activity that you can do with this. This is what we would be doing at school if we were at school, but we're not, so this is the best we got. I hope you all are staying healthy, staying safe. If you need anything, that I can provide for you, let me know. Shoot me an email, but for now, we're here to talk about poetry. Woot woot! Alright, so these are, I think there's 9 poetry terms or figurative language terms, many of which you've probably already heard of before, but I just wanted to make sure before I start throwing some poems your way that you have the information you need to talk about the figurative language in poetry well. So I've got 9 slides. Each one of them is a different poetic device or figurative language, piece of figurative language. I've got some examples, and then your activity, should you find yourself needing to do an activity, is to find them on your own. So, number 1, simile. All right, what's a simile? So a simile compares two things using the words like or as. All of these things are figurative things, so they don't talk about things literally. But here's some examples for you. So example number 1, my grandma is as tough as nails. Okay, is she literally as tough as an iron nail? No, so that's figurative language. Second one, the puppy is as soft as a pillow. Hopefully you all are getting some good snuggles in with your pups if you have them, or cats. But is the puppy literally as soft as a pillow? No, but it's a way to describe the puppy that uses figurative language. Last one I have is the cookie is as hard as a rock. Those are the worst kind of cookies. Is it literally as hard as a rock? I hope not, unless you're a really terrible baker. But there we go. Similes, number 1. You've probably talked about these before. Second one you've probably already talked about is a metaphor. So a metaphor is a figure of speech that directly refers to one thing as another thing. So it's very similar to a simile, but it does not use like or as. The nice metaphor I have here is the house full of quarantined children was a zoo. Was it literally a zoo? No. But you can see the similarities between crazy children and crazy animals. All right. 3 is hyperbole. It's not pronounced hyperbole. It's not like the Super Bowl, hyperbole. No, it's hyperbole. So hyperbole is something that you all are very, very good at already, and it is an extreme exaggeration that cannot possibly be true. When you say, I died when I read blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't. Obviously, you didn't die because you're alive telling me this. Example I have here, I learned to ride a bike about 1 million years ago. No, you didn't. You weren't alive 1 million years ago. Heck, you weren't even alive 15 years ago. It's an exaggeration to say a long period of time has passed. All right, that's 3. 4. Personification. I think we already talked about this one this year when we read There Will Come Soft Rains, the story about the house after the nuclear whatever. So personification is giving non-human objects human characteristics. So we could say, the sun smiled on us today. Did the sun actually smile? No. Doesn't have a mouth, it can't smile, doesn't have a personality. But when the sun is nice and warm and uplifting, it's a way to describe it using some figurative language. This one is popular with elementary teachers because it is fun for little kids. Onomatopoeia, and that is when the word itself suggests its meaning. These are things that you talked about when you were small, like choo-choo on a train, and here's a little bit more of a more appropriate, age-appropriate example. I don't know. It's not so little kiddish. So the stairs creaked as I tried to sneak down them. creaked, if you say it right, can sort of give you the meaning of the word, or it cannot, depending on how you say it. These are fun. There's a lot of them out there, ranging from silly little kiddish to actually pretty impressive. Yeah. All right, next one. Alliteration. This one is also fun, and poets use this a lot, so this is a good one for you to know. So that is the repetition of initial consonant sounds. So a consonant is anything that's not A, E, I, O, or U, or at least sometimes Y, but most of the time not. Tongue twisters usually use alliteration. Things like Coca-Cola, Dunkin' Donuts, okay, those start with the same consonant sounds. What else do I have? Penny paid for the pretty poster. We've got the P sound repeated there. This one, like I said, tongue twisters. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, also alliteration. Initial consonant sounds repeated. All right, idioms, not idiots, idiom. It's like a figure of speech. This one's one of the hardest ones, I think, to talk about because we don't exactly know where they came from. We know what they mean, but we don't know where they came from. So an idiom is a group of words whose collective meaning is different than their individual meanings. And these are figures of speech that you use all the time, but that are hard for language learners or just hard if you've never heard them before. So I picked two that you hopefully would know what they mean. The first one, it's time to buckle down and get this yard work done. Okay, are you literally fussing with a buckle trying to get it to buckle down? No, buckle down just means like focus. Not the same meaning as its, figurative meaning. Second one, math is sometimes hard to wrap your head around. Are you literally taking your head and like wrapping it around the math concept? Absolutely not. That would be really weird. But wrap your head around just means understand. Okay, so these are things, figures of speeches that you use. And their meaning is different than the actual words that make up their phrase. All right, I think this is my last one. Maybe I have one more after this. Allusion. Okay, not illusion like a magic trick. Allusion with an A is like a passing reference. So an expression designed to call to mind something without mentioning it explicitly, or an indirect or passing reference. These are hard. These are really, really hard. I picked two sort of obvious examples, but a lot of times poets use them not obviously. They're hard to find. So the first one is, I was surprised that his nose isn't growing. Okay, that's an allusion to Pinocchio. In the Pinocchio myth, when he lies, his nose grows. So if you say, I was surprised his nose isn't growing, you're saying, I can tell he's lying. Another one, Marty's beard was whiter than Santa's. Okay, that one's a little bit more obvious. Santa Claus, pretty standard guy in Christmas stories. But they're passing references, and a lot of them, allusions, are a lot more subtle than this too, but these are two pretty easy to understand ones. Oh, I lied. There's another one. Oxymoron. So oxymorons are really fun because they are phrases whose meanings contradict one another. So words that have opposite meaning that go into one phrase. So the first one I have here is, licorice is my least favorite jelly bean flavor, which is a fact because that's gross. But least and favorite, and when you put them together, favorite means like something you like the most, but then you have least, and so the meaning contradicts each other. That one's one that we use fairly often. Another one, we had jumbo shrimp for dinner. Okay, jumbo means big, shrimp means small. Isn't it sort of an oxymoron? Yes. All right. So those are your pieces of figurative language. If you're stuck at home and and your parents are making you do school stuff, here is something that you can work on. So the directions are posted in the thing I'm going to post on Google Classroom. So what I want you to do is, use whatever you've been doing, watching TV, reading books, listening to music, browsing TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and I want you to find examples of all of these things. I'm going to put a template on Google Classroom, and if you're sitting there watching TV and somebody says something that's an idiom, write it down, put it in the Google Slides, so you'll see a slide for every one that I just talked about. Find one or two examples of each, write the example, tell me what it means, and then find a picture, and then you can upload it to Google Classroom when you're finished. I officially can't assign due dates, so if we ever make it back to school, which fingers crossed that we will, it's not going to be due then. But if you have time to do it and you need some schoolwork to keep your brain occupied, could be good. Like I said, these instructions will be posted online, so don't feel like you have to read them all right now. If you have questions, shoot an email my way, but I hope you're having an okay time being stuck in quarantine, and this is the end of video lesson number 1. Peace out, folks. Miss you.